Chosen one, what if I told you that everything you've been through, every betrayal, every rejection, every seemingly random attack, wasn't by accident? What if the real reason they targeted you wasn't because of something you've done, but because of who you've always been? Since the beginning, you felt the weight of others' judgment, their envy, their subtle attempts to sabotage your progress. It's as if the world has been keeping an unspoken secret about you, one that you're only now beginning to understand. And here's the truth. Their targeting of you was never random. They saw something in you long before you could see it in yourself. A divine spark, a rare spiritual energy that made you a threat to everything they stood for. But the time for hiding is over. The truth about who you are and why you've been attacked is finally being exposed. You felt this in your soul, haven't you? That quiet certainty that you were different, that you didn't fit into the molds others tried to force you into. It was never just paranoia, there was always something deeper at play. They saw your light before you even realized it was there. They watched you rise despite their attempts to hold you down. And now, that light is shining so brightly, it can no longer be ignored. Stay with me, because in this video, I'll reveal the hidden reason behind their attacks, how you can protect yourself now that your light is fully exposed, and why your struggles were never a punishment but a prophetic sign. If this resonates with you, like this video and comment 77. And if you find value in this message, subscribe to the channel, share it, and consider clicking the super thanks button to support our work. A special thanks to our membership subscribers. Your support makes this possible. If you'd like to join, click the link in the description. Stick around until the end, because we're not just exposing the truth, we're reclaiming the power they tried to take from you. The pattern of early targeting. From the moment you took your first breath, a hidden struggle began. It wasn't a fight you signed up for, nor one you could have anticipated, but it was there. You might not have realized it at the time, but those childhood moments that felt unusually heavy, the loneliness, the unexplained difficulties, the sense that you were different, were early indicators that you carried something unique. Perhaps you remember looking around and wondering why others seemed to have it easier, why their paths seemed smoother. It wasn't just bad luck or coincidence. It was because, from the very beginning, there was something extraordinary about you that stood out, something that set you apart. The weight you felt as a child, the sense that you were navigating an invisible battle, was no accident. It was the first sign that you were marked for a higher calling. As you grew, this pattern became more noticeable. Challenges appeared that didn't make sense, and you may have started to question why you seemed to face more resistance than your peers. Even in situations that should have been joyful or easy, there was often an underlying struggle. The people around you might not have understood why you felt this way. In fact, you might not have fully understood it yourself. This weight wasn't something you could easily explain, but it was real. You might have felt misunderstood, isolated, and at times rejected. Yet these difficulties weren't random or meaningless. They were deliberate. They were designed to test you, to prepare you, to shape you into the person you were meant to become. The very struggles you faced were a reflection of your potential, a reflection of the unique calling on your life. There's a profound example of this in the Bible. Before Moses even spoke his first words, Pharaoh sought to end his life. He feared that one of the Hebrew children would grow up to challenge his empire. Pharaoh's decree wasn't based on anything Moses had done. It was based on who Moses would become. In the same way, the battles you faced from an early age were never about your present self. They were about the future you. The forces working against you could sense that you carried a destiny, a power that would one day shake the foundations of darkness. They knew that if you stepped into your purpose, you would be unstoppable. This early targeting wasn't a reflection of your weakness, but of your strength. It wasn't a sign that you were destined to fail, but that you were destined to rise. Over time, you may have started to notice shifts in your life. Perhaps you've begun to see patterns in the challenges you face. Certain difficulties seem to resurface just when you're about to step into something greater. Maybe there are moments when it feels as if everything is conspiring against you, yet somehow you find a way through. These patterns aren't random. They are indicators that you are moving closer to your purpose. The resistance you feel is often strongest just before a breakthrough. The weight you once carried as a child is beginning to transform. You're seeing glimpses of your strength, of the purpose that's been guiding you all along. You may not have all the answers yet, but you're starting to recognize that your journey is not ordinary. It's extraordinary. As you reflect on these patterns, you might realize that certain doors that closed in your past were actually detours guiding you to something better. People who left your life weren't abandoning you. They were making room for new opportunities. The challenges you've faced have been clearing the path for you to step into your true calling. Behind the scenes, higher forces have been at work, ensuring that you end up exactly where you need to be. Those moments of resistance weren't meant to stop you. They were meant to prepare you. Your journey has been carefully crafted, not by chance, but by design. Every hardship, every setback, every closed door was part of a divine plan to position you for greatness. Now comes a pivotal moment. Recognizing that this pattern of targeting, this weight you've carried, has shaped you into someone capable of immense strength and purpose. It's not enough to simply understand that these struggles had meaning. You must embrace that meaning and fully step into the identity you were always meant to claim. This is your moment of self-realization, the point where you stop viewing your challenges as curses and start seeing them as blessings. It's the moment when you choose to accept your calling without hesitation. You realize that your pain, your struggles, and your battles were never signs of defeat. They were signs of your transformation. You are no longer the person who carries the weight. You are the person who wields it as a source of power. With this awareness, you're ready to take action. The time has come to release the fear and doubt that have held you back. You have been shaped by fire, and now you are stronger than ever. Embrace your path with confidence. Trust that you are equipped for every challenge that lies ahead. No longer will you view your life through the lens of victimhood. Instead, you will walk forward with the knowledge that you were chosen, that your struggles were a part of your preparation, and that your time has come. This is your moment to rise, to move boldly toward your purpose, and to inspire others to do the same. Trust in the journey, and let your light shine even brighter. As you step into this new chapter, remember that the struggles of your past were not in vain. They were the foundation upon which you will build a future of strength, wisdom, and purpose. Comment, "I see it now," if you recognize the pattern of targeting in your life. Let this moment be a turning point, a time when you fully embrace the truth of who you are and the power you carry. Know that you are not alone, and that there is a greater purpose guiding your steps. The journey isn't over. It's just beginning, and you are exactly where you need to be. They saw the light before you did. From the earliest moments you can remember, there was something inside you that set you apart, something you couldn't quite explain but felt as a quiet, persistent energy. You may not have recognized it back then, but others did. They saw that spark before you could name it, that glimmer of potential that went far beyond the surface. The challenge was, not everyone who noticed it had good intentions. While you were simply trying to navigate life, to understand who you were and what you wanted, there were forces already at work attempting to dim your light. Their efforts may not have been obvious at first. Subtle comments that chipped away at your confidence, unexpected losses that made you doubt your path, relationships that seemed supportive but drained you instead. These weren't just random obstacles. They were targeted attempts to keep you from fully realizing your power. As you think back, certain patterns begin to emerge. Those moments of feeling drained after spending time with certain people, the situations that left you questioning your worth, the friends who celebrated your failures more than your successes. It all starts to make sense. These weren't coincidences. The darkness saw your potential long before you could see it yourself. It knew that if you ever fully grasped what you were capable of, if you ever understood the depth of your calling, you would become a force that couldn't be contained. And so it sent distractions, derailments, and doubts your way, hoping to blind you to your own light. The weight you felt wasn't just a result of life's ups and downs. It was a deliberate effort to keep you from recognizing who you truly are. What's remarkable about your story is that, despite these attempts, your light was never extinguished. Think about the story of Paul and Silas in Acts 16. They encountered a slave girl possessed by a spirit that followed them around, shouting about their mission. That spirit knew who they were before others did. It recognized their authority, their calling, and tried to disrupt their path before they could fulfill their purpose. The same dynamic has been at work in your life. While you may not have fully understood your power, those forces recognized it from the beginning. They tried to stop you before you could even get started. Yet, just as Paul rebuked that spirit and continued his mission, you have the strength to rise above these attempts. Your light was never meant to be hidden, and no amount of interference can keep it from shining once you truly understand its source. Over time, you've likely started to notice small but significant shifts. Perhaps you've begun to recognize the patterns of certain relationships, how some people seem to drain your energy while others uplift it. Maybe you've noticed that as you grow more confident in your calling, the resistance becomes more pronounced. This is not a coincidence. It's a sign that you're getting closer to your breakthrough. When you start to see these patterns for what they are, you realize that the efforts to suppress your light only highlight how powerful that light truly is. These moments of clarity, of recognizing that the obstacles weren't random, mark the beginning of your transformation. You're no longer just surviving. You're starting to thrive in the knowledge that you were chosen for a reason. This understanding brings a new level of awareness. You begin to see how divine forces have been quietly working in the background, guiding you through the noise and the doubt. What once felt like endless attacks now looks more like strategic preparation. The people who left your life were making room for those who truly support your journey. The setbacks that seemed so unfair were redirecting you towards something greater. These moments of clarity, these glimpses of divine alignment, show you that you are not fighting this battle alone. Your light was never meant to be extinguished, and every challenge you faced has only strengthened your resolve to let it shine brighter than ever. At this point, the decision is yours. Recognizing your light and the forces that have tried to diminish it is just the beginning. The real power comes when you fully step into your identity as someone who carries something rare and valuable. It's easy to hold back, to let the fear of more resistance keep you from moving forward. But the truth is, the moment you embrace who you truly are, those attempts to silence you lose their power. This is your turning point. You have a choice to make: to let the knowledge of your light push you toward growth, strength, and purpose, or to let the doubt hold you back. This is the moment to stand tall and let your light shine unapologetically. Once you make that decision, everything begins to shift. You start to walk with a new level of confidence, knowing that your light is not just for you. It's for others who need to see it, who need to know that it's possible to overcome the darkness. By stepping fully into your calling, you inspire others to do the same. The people who once doubted you now see the strength in you. The situations that once felt like setbacks become stepping stones. You are no longer just someone who carries potential. You are someone who embodies it, who lives it, and who uses it to impact the world around you. The forces that once tried to keep you down now serve as a testament to how far you've come. In the end, the efforts to extinguish your light have only made it stronger. What once felt like relentless resistance now looks like the confirmation of your calling. You were never just another face in the crowd. You were always destined to shine, to lead, and to bring light into dark places. Comment, "I understand my light," if you resonate with this realization. This is your moment to rise, to step fully into the power that's been within you all along. You were chosen for this, and nothing can keep you from fulfilling the purpose that was written for you from the very beginning. Why your presence feels like a threat? Have you ever stepped into a room and sensed an unspoken tension? Perhaps the air seemed to shift the moment you arrived. Maybe you noticed the way people stopped talking, the subtle glances exchanged as if they were trying to piece together why your presence made them uneasy. For a long time, you might have wondered if you were imagining it, but deep down, you always knew something was different. You felt it in those strange silences, those unexpected bursts of hostility from people you barely knew, and the inexplicable envy from those you thought would support you. These moments weren't just awkward coincidences. They were indicators of a deeper truth. Your very presence was stirring something in them. You were never just a bystander. You were always meant to stand out, and that's why your presence feels like a threat. You've likely faced subtle yet consistent pushback, even in situations where you were only trying to do your best. Think back to the times when you were met with coldness or negativity despite your good intentions. Perhaps you experienced jealousy from colleagues who seemed threatened by your ideas, or maybe you had friends who couldn't celebrate your successes without downplaying them. These experiences are deeply personal, and they leave a lasting impression. They can make you question your worth and wonder why it feels like the world is against you. But it's not about what you've done wrong. It's about what you represent. People sense the strength within you, the potential for greatness, and that scares them. They see a light that they don't understand, a power they can't control, and it makes them uncomfortable. Throughout history, light has always disrupted darkness. In Matthew 5 verse 14, Jesus calls his followers the light of the world. This wasn't a casual compliment. It was a declaration of their ability to illuminate the truth and expose what was hidden. Just as a single candle in a dark room changes everything, your presence has the power to reveal what others would prefer to keep in the shadows. This dynamic has played out over and over again. Consider Daniel in the Old Testament. Despite his loyalty and good character, he was targeted by those who felt threatened by his unwavering faith. The mere fact that Daniel stood firm and shone brightly in his convictions made others conspire against him. Like Daniel, you're not a threat because you've harmed anyone. You're a threat because your light reveals the cracks in their foundations. They fear what you might expose simply by existing as your true self. As you start to recognize this pattern, you'll also notice the shifts happening in and around you. Those tense moments, the unwarranted criticisms, and the subtle attempts to undermine you all point to the fact that your light is becoming impossible to ignore. And here's the most significant part. They may feel threatened, but it's not your job to shrink to make them comfortable. Instead, you begin to see these situations as confirmation that you're walking in your purpose. The more you embrace your identity, the more clearly you'll see how the pieces are aligning. That jealousy you once feared becomes a signal that you're standing out for a reason. The tension you feel is not a sign that you should hide. It's a sign that you're exactly where you need to be. Your light is growing stronger, and it's impossible for them to deny. There is no need to apologize for the light you bring. When you fully understand the power you carry, you'll see that those who push back against you are reacting out of their own insecurities. Higher forces are already at work, clearing the way for you to move forward without fear. The rejection, the criticism, the envy, none of it can stop what has been placed inside you. Instead, these experiences become proof that you are on the right path. When you show up, you shift the atmosphere, and that shift is not something you need to fix. It's something you need to embrace. The divine plan for your life is unfolding, and even the resistance you face is part of your preparation. You don't need their approval to fulfill your purpose. All you need is the courage to keep walking in your light. In this moment, it's time to acknowledge the truth about who you are. Your light isn't something to hide or apologize for. It's something to claim boldly. Many people resist this truth because they fear the backlash, the isolation that can come from standing out. But this is your sacred moment. This is the time to look past the fear and step into the power that's always been yours. No one can take it away. Your light is your gift, your calling, and your responsibility. If you've been holding back, let this be the moment you stop. This is the turning point where you choose to own your presence, fully and unapologetically. Now that you see it, what's next? It's time to stand tall, to let go of the fear of how others will react, and to embrace the path you were meant to walk. Your presence will continue to disrupt, to challenge, and to shine. But that's what it's supposed to do. You are here to make an impact, not to blend in. Trust that every step you take is guided. Trust that your light will attract the right people and the right opportunities at the right time. Your purpose is bigger than their discomfort, and your future is brighter than the shadows they cling to. Stand firm in who you are, knowing that you are supported by a higher plan and a power that cannot be shaken. In the end, your presence isn't just something that happens to make people uneasy. It's a reminder of what's possible, of the truth that can't be ignored. Comment, "I embrace my light," if you're ready to fully step into your power. Remember, it's not about changing who you are to make others comfortable. It's about walking confidently in your purpose, knowing that the light within you is unstoppable. This is your moment to rise, to be seen, and to shine as you were always meant to. The strategy behind the attacks. It often feels as though the challenges you face come out of nowhere, doesn't it? Just as you begin to make progress, something happens. A sudden conflict, an unexpected setback, or an old fear creeping back in. You might wonder why life seems to throw these obstacles at you right when you start to move forward. The truth is, these attacks aren't random. There's a pattern, a strategy behind them. They're not there to simply slow you down. They're designed to pull your focus, to shake your confidence, and to make you doubt the path you're on. The enemy's goal is not only to discourage you, but to trap you in a cycle of reaction and distraction. If you've felt caught in this loop, you're not alone. Many others on a similar journey have experienced these same perfectly timed roadblocks, but the key to overcoming them is understanding their purpose. At first, these challenges might seem like normal ups and downs. Maybe it's a falling out with someone you trusted, a series of unexpected bills that leave you scrambling, or a wave of self-doubt that hits just as you're about to take a big leap forward. Each of these attacks feels personal, and that's what makes them so effective. They feed on your fears, amplify your insecurities, and make you question whether you're even meant to pursue your dreams. You may have found yourself thinking, why now? Why does this always happen when I'm trying to do something meaningful? That's exactly the reaction the enemy wants. By piling on stress and uncertainty at critical moments, they hope you'll give up, retreat, or at the very least, lose momentum. Nehemiah's story from the Bible offers a striking parallel. In Nehemiah 6, as he led the rebuilding of Jerusalem's walls, his enemies did everything they could to disrupt the work. They sent messengers with false accusations, hoping to lure him into endless arguments. They spread rumors to sow doubt among his people. They even plotted to physically harm him. But Nehemiah recognized their tactics for what they were, a distraction. He understood that if he stopped to defend himself, to address every rumor, or to retaliate against every attack, he would lose sight of the greater purpose. His example shows us that the enemy's strategy is never random. It's methodical, aimed at keeping you from completing the mission that God has placed in your heart. Knowing this, you can begin to see these attacks not as signs of failure, but as confirmation that you're on the right path. As you gain this perspective, you may start to notice signs that the tide is turning. The very attacks that once seemed to block your progress now feel like stepping stones. Perhaps you're beginning to recognize that every conflict has taught you something valuable: greater patience, deeper discernment, or more clarity about who you can trust. You find that rather than being derailed, you're growing stronger and more focused. Moments that used to send you into a spiral of doubt now pass more quickly, leaving you with a sense of calm determination. This shift is a powerful indicator that the enemy's strategy is losing its grip on you. You're no longer reacting to every disruption. Instead, you're pressing forward with a renewed sense of purpose, grounded in the knowledge that these attacks are only temporary. Behind the scenes, forces greater than the enemies are working on your behalf. You may have noticed moments of unexpected support. People showing up at just the right time, resources appearing when you thought you were out of options, or a sense of peace that carries you through the toughest days. These are not coincidences. They're signs of divine alignment, proof that higher powers are actively guiding you through the noise and chaos. Every attack that was meant to disarm you is being turned into an opportunity for growth. Every distraction that was meant to deter you is being transformed into a chance to strengthen your faith. These interventions, no matter how subtle, remind you that you're never alone in this journey. You're being prepared for something much greater than the obstacles in front of you. As you step into this understanding, it becomes clear that these attacks are not just challenges to overcome. They're signals of your growth, opportunities to reaffirm your faith and commitment to the path you've chosen. This is your moment of self-realization, the moment when you decide to stop letting external circumstances dictate your progress. No matter how perfectly timed the attacks may seem, they can no longer hold you back. You are stepping into a new level of awareness, one where you see the enemy's strategy for what it truly is, a futile attempt to keep you from embracing your full potential. This realization brings freedom. It's not just about fighting through the obstacles. It's about understanding that they never had the power to stop you in the first place. Now that you see the bigger picture, it's time to act. Each attack you've faced has equipped you with lessons and tools that will help you move forward with confidence. Let go of the doubts that once clouded your vision. Release the fear that kept you hesitant and unsure. Instead, step boldly into your purpose, knowing that every obstacle was part of your preparation. Trust in the divine guidance that has been with you all along, and use the strength you've gained to take your next steps with courage. You've already proven that you can weather the storms, and now it's time to rise above them. This is your opportunity to move forward with a clear mind, a strong heart, and an unwavering faith in your mission. In the end, the strategy behind these attacks was never about defeating you. It was about making you stronger, more resilient, and more focused. Now that you see the truth, you can face any challenge with a sense of purpose and calm confidence. Comment, "I see their strategy," if this resonates with you. Remember, your path is not defined by the obstacles but by how you rise above them. This is your moment to move forward with clarity and determination, knowing that no attack can ever stop what has already been set in motion. How to rise as the protected and untouchable. It's hard to live each day under the weight of fear and doubt. You've likely carried this burden for so long that it feels almost natural, an ongoing struggle to protect yourself from the unknown, to defend yourself against attacks that seem to come out of nowhere. But deep down, you've always known there was more to your story. You've sensed that your challenges weren't random, that the battles you've faced had a purpose. And now the truth is clear. These attacks, these struggles, they were never about breaking you. They were about waking you up to who you really are. Now is the time to reclaim your power. Now is the time to rise as the protected, the untouchable, the one who no longer bows to fear. It's not easy to shift from living in survival mode to walking in strength. You may still feel the scars of past wounds, the echoes of old betrayals. Maybe you've lost trust in people you once thought were allies. Maybe the weight of rejection, of being misunderstood, still lingers in your heart. You've likely spent sleepless nights wondering why things had to be so hard, why you were the one who always seemed to carry the heaviest load. But what you must understand is that this path was never about punishing you. It was about preparing you. The pain you felt, the struggles you've endured, have shaped you into someone who can stand tall, unshaken by the storms of life. It's that very strength, forged in the fire of adversity, that now makes you untouchable. When you look at the lives of those who walked this path before you, figures like Moses, Ruth, and Paul, you see a pattern emerge. These weren't people who lived easy lives. They faced rejection, danger, and overwhelming odds. Yet, in each of their stories, there came a turning point, a moment when they stepped into their calling and discovered a protection that no enemy could breach. Consider Ruth, who left behind everything she knew and found herself in a foreign land. Her obedience, her faith, brought her under divine protection, and she became part of a legacy far greater than she could have imagined. Just as Ruth found her place and her purpose, you too have a covering, a protection that comes not from human hands but from the Most High. Psalm 91 tells us, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty." This is your turning point, your time to step into that shelter, that divine alignment, and rise above every attack. Now it's time to act. No longer will you allow fear to dictate your choices. No longer will you hold back because of doubt. The wisdom you've gained, the discernment you've sharpened, the strength you've built, these are your tools, your weapons against any future attacks. Step into your purpose with boldness, knowing that the same divine protection that shielded Moses, Ruth, and Paul is with you. As you move forward, let this truth be your anchor. You are untouchable because you are aligned with a purpose that no enemy can derail. With this understanding comes a moment of deep realization. You begin to see that your entire journey, every loss, every challenge, was leading you to this point. Many people resist this moment, fearing the unknown, unsure of what it means to fully embrace their power. You've already proven that you have the strength to endure. Now is the time to thrive. Comment, "I am chosen," if this truth resonates with you. Remember, this is not just about surviving attacks. It's about rising above them, walking in your calling, and showing others that it's possible to overcome. Thank you to all our membership subscribers for your ongoing support. If you'd like to join, click the link in the description. Let's continue building this community of chosen ones who stand tall, united, and empowered to fulfill the incredible purpose that's been set before us.